I met a gypsy.
And fight those millions of years of self-preservational instincts.
Yeah.
And they got that. Those
Yeah.
guys are superheroes. I competed in Rampage in 20 something years ago, and it's a different story. Like, they're going way bigger, they're going way faster. It's just everything gets built up, but they're superheroes.
Can you believe where it's at now?
You know what? It's no, like back then, I never would have imagined that they'd be flipping off the Price is Right. Like that, it would. If I saw that back then, I'd be like even now, I'm like, what the hell, And the Canyon Gap that Tom Ice did and T-Mac did, and like all that stuff. Like it's just mind blowing, and they're so good that they do it, and the ladies too doing what they did was absolutely amazing. Like those lines are gnarly. That mountain is gnarly.
Yeah,
and they are risking their lives, but they're doing it, and they're doing it controlling and put on a good show and getting a rush, and it's just amazing. It's, they're going so big and they're doing such wild tricks that most people can't comprehend it. I sometimes will hike around and I would see lines that I know that I would do, and I'm like, I'd do that, and then I'm like, I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't do that either. I would never do that. Yeah. And that blows me away because I grew up.
Yeah, you grew up doing it. Yeah, and like laying the foundation.
Yeah. You step on people's shoulders to get to the next level, and then you get a boost, and things just, you build up like a layer of paint, the armor to be able to do that, and you learn what works and doesn't work, and the bikes get better, and they're doing it, and there are a lot of guys and girls doing it, and it's so cool to see. And I just love the vibe of the riders supporting each other, and everyone's risking their shit, risking their spines, risking their craniums to take a risk to do something rad for whatever reason that they're doing it for, on that pie chart we're talking about.
Yeah.
But they are doing it for whatever reason they're doing it, and it's just humbling, and I love it. I love those guys and girls for pushing the sport and where it's at, and I get nothing but respect. It's cool. On the same side, in a way, was gnarlier back in the day when we did Rampage, because we would like kick a few stones out of the way and send it, and we didn't know to pack landings. Like, we were just trying to free ride, and we'd land in soft dirt.
Yeah.
And you'd go over the bars and then flip into a canyon, go into a rock or whatever. In a way, it was more dangerous back then because,
it was less calculated.
It was less calculated. They know that if they send it and they make it to the landing on that hardback dirt, they're going to roll away. We were like, go hit a bush, hit a tree. There were spectators on the course. Like it was kind of more dangerous, even though we weren't going as big and doing just wild tricks. It was still so new. We're trying to figure out. It was more dangerous in a way. You know what I mean? I'm not saying it was more dangerous, but it was.
No. It makes sense what you're saying.
More people got hurt more often back then because, we didn't know how to pack landings.
And it was, I guess, just less professional.
Yeah, like they're dialed now. They're dialed. They're good. They've been doing it for a long time. They've done it for a while. It's, that they know, like, the most likely they're going to do it until they do their actual run where they're flipping and twisting and doing all the tricks in the run to get as many points as they can. That, they know they can do that. We were going into the unknown of like, I don't know if this is possible, but I'm going for it. So it's a different mentality.
Dude, Bender is like Jesus, bro. That guy is so fucking gnarly. The level that he was at back then and the risk that he was taking, like, obviously he's paying for it now, but bro, he pushed the sport. If you look at, like, everyone pushes the sport in their own way, right? But like the risk that he took in the time that he was doing it, like he had to have just progressed shit so far.
Yeah, he was nuts. Like he appeared when we had done up like crank 3, crank 4 was when he appeared for New World Disorder 1, and myself and my buddies, we had done like 10-foot drops, 15-foot drops, 20-foot drops. I got up to a 25-foot drop.
Yeah,
is the biggest thing I landed. I tried some 32-footers 4 times, but I never rode them out clean. But the biggest thing I stomped was 25 vertical feet down.
What was the hard part about like going from 25 to 32?
It was the landing. It was too soft.
Yeah.
Yeah. If I would have had a hard pack landing, I was centered on the bike. I was like, I had my vertical axis line dialed. I had the balls to do it. I was loose. I was like ready. And I just kept washing out the front wheel and kind of stopping. I was jumping into a sand pit.
Yeah.
So I couldn't stomp that 32. If I would have had pack landings, I think I would have, taken it up for there. So I had stomped up a 25 footer with a soft landing, and that was my limit. And then Bender came and did a 32 footer. And so he went like 7 feet bigger than me. And then he, just kept pushing. And I went to Kamloops with Richie, actually, and they were filming him for New World Disorder 1. And he had broke his bike, and I actually saved the day for the shoot because I lent him my Marizuki Monster Tees off of my RM9 for him to go do the jaw drop.
Yeah.
And he and I, stayed up late that night, blasting some bombers and talking, and we had this great conversation, and we became friends like right away. And I went out and looked at it, and I was like, it's too flat. It's too flat a landing, and it's too soft. It's too flat. And he's like, and then Derek Western was like, Tippie, he's doing things you don't know about yet. He's doing 1,000 push-ups today. He's got this. And I'm like, I go, dude, I've been jumping off cliffs,
for
sandboarding,
a while. Yeah,
and a while, and I've done 25 footers. This is like a 45 footer. I think it's too flat. And he's like, no, you'll see. I'm like, okay. So I actually filmed the footage for New World Disorder. One of the camera shots is my angle with my little Sony High 8 camera, and you can hear my voice. Okay, here he goes. 3, 2, 1. Boom! And he hit. He eye-slided. He got flipped off the bike, and they didn't clear the trees out very wide. They just assumed he was going to make it, and he hit his head on the base of a tree where the tree grew out of the ground, and somehow it had a little deformity, and it grew like this, and then it grew up, and there was like an elbow, and he hit his head, I think it was a Fox motocross helmet, right at the elbow of that tree, and destroyed his helmet. And I was down there holding his head. He was out cold, holding his head still so it wouldn't twist in case there was any kind of spinal damage for 45 minutes till the ambulance showed up and could get across the river to get there. And my arms are cramping, and I'm trying to like hold to be as still as I could. And he came back and did it 3 more times the next summer. And then he finally said, it's too flat. And I was like, that's what I said. But he was trying to do like a 40, 45 foot drop. People were telling me, it's 50 feet. No, it's not 50 feet. We've measured it. It's like a 45 foot drop, 40, 45, depending on how fast you go. And so that was with my forks. I still have them. They work perfect.
No way.
They still squish super nice. And then when Brage Vestovic sent it for Nothing's for Free, I've saved the day again 3 times that shoot.
No way.
And I'll tell you how I did it. We hiked up there, had a cameraman everywhere ready to go. And Brage was like squeezing his tires, and he's like, I think I need more air. And I filled his tires. They felt Rampage hard. I'm like, really? And he's like, yeah. I'm like, okay. Derek had a pump. We're the last ones up on the hill. Everything's ready to go. He's pumping up his tire. The pump breaks. Lets the air out of his tire. And he's like, and I could see him and Derek look at each other like, we're fucked, And they're just like, and their body English just slumped like,
yeah, like it's over.
It's over, right? And I reached into my backpack and I pulled up my mini pump. Saved the day. And so Derek is pumping up his tires, and I go to Brage. I'm like, hey, Brage, you're a big deal when you got Derek Westland pumping your tires. He pumps it up. He's ready to go. He's like, okay, that's hard enough. Okay, perfect. Thank you. Thank you, Tippie. And I'm like, no problem. I put the pump back in my pack. And as he's going up, and I go, hey, Brage, word of advice. And he's like, yeah, Tippie. And I go, I know you've done a lot of big airs, but I've done a lot of big airs into sand and gravel. You're going to have to land this twice, right? He's like, what? I go, you have to land this twice. You're going to hit, you're going to load up the energy, and it's going to bounce, and you got to land it that time, and then you got to land it again. And he's like, right. I go, you got this. He goes, I do got this. All right. Give him a high five. He goes up. I stood in the same spot as I filmed Bender do it, and I was going to roll the still camera for John Gibson. He had set up on a tripod where he got a different angle, and I shot it with my phone. And here he goes. He sends it. And he hits. Boom. He loads up. He bounces. He takes the first hit. Lands it. Lands the bounce. He's over at the trees. So he took a foot off to veer away from the trees. And then he runs out to the bottom on the bike. Stomped it. I'd say he stomped it. He wrote it out.
Yeah.
One foot was off, but whatever.
Yeah.
You know. Anyways, so he did it. Anyways, so everyone's walking down. I walk down to the bottom. All the cameramen high-fiving each other. He's sitting with his shoe off. His ankle's going swelling right up. Him and Westerland are sitting with their backs to the slope. And I walk down, and I was just about to say, what are you guys, a couple of rookies? You got your back to the live slope? When I look up, and there was a rock this big bouncing down the hill, and it's going right at the back of Brage's head. Just as I walk up, and I can see it, and then it bounces and hits something, and it's going right at me. And I'm like, and then I can see where it's going to go. It's going right at the back of Westerland's head. And I'm like, I didn't even know what to do. I didn't have time to say anything. There was a shovel there. I grabbed the shovel, and I put the shovel, and I put it in front of Westerland's head, and the rock went bang!
No way.
And I saved Westerland's head from being brained. Like, almost took his head off. And like, you know when you hit a baseball?
Yeah,
and
it just like
the vibration.
vibrates your
That's what my
hands.
hand felt like through the shovel. I saved that shoot twice. And I saved Westerland's life.
That's so wild, bro.
But it was cool to see that piece of history when Bender did it with my forks.
Yeah.
And, you know, I don't know if I would have done it. I don't think I would have done it. It was too flat. But I would have liked to shoot with Bender, me and Bender shooting back in the day. Because, you know, we were like two of the most prominent cliff jumpers back in the day. But I lent him my fork so he could do the biggest thing that had ever been attempted. And then I stood in the same spot to film Brage do it. And I felt happy to be a piece of, you know, it was
that
two
history.
monumentous moments.
Yeah.
And, you know, it was, I felt special to be there, but I definitely saved the day in bush shoots.
If you enjoyed this content, please like and subscribe. And to listen to the full 3-hour podcast, search Gypsy Tales in your favorite podcast platform or click the link in the description below. Gypsy Gang.